Reading 1 course, Unit 1. Ibn Khaldun, a prominent Arab historian. Read through the selection quickly to find the original place of Ibn Khaldun's ancestors, why he met Timur Lenk, and he died, and where he was buried. Write the answers in the comments below. Abdurrahman bin Khaldun was born at Tunis in 1332 into a prosperous and influential family who originally came over from South Arabia and settled in Andalusia in the early days of the Islamic conquest. However, the Christian reconquest of Spain forced many Muslim families, including Ibn Khaldun's, to cross the Straits of Gibraltar to North Africa. Educated and intelligent, Abdurrahman's grandfather soon called the attention of the ruler of Tunis, who appointed him Minister of Finance. In Tunis, Abdurrahman received a first-class education. He learned the Quran by heart and studied Arabic grammar and poetry as well as Islamic jurisprudence. Consequently, he was able to enter public life at the age of 20 as secretary to the Moroccan Sultan at Fez. There have been few periods in history as agitated as the 14th century in North Africa. Innumerable kinglets, princelets, and feudal lords struggled for supremacy. Towns changed masters with astonishing rapidly. Intrigue, murder, and revolt were rife. Survival was as much a question of luck as ability. Ibn Khaldun was lucky to get off with only 2 years' imprisonment when he lost the Sultan's favor. His brother was less fortunate. He was assassinated by order of the Prince of Tlemcen. In 1362, Ibn Khaldun crossed the sea back to Granada, whose ruler appointed him as his envoy to Pedro, the Cruel of Castile. Pedro was so impressed by the ability of this messenger that he offered him a high post in his government. But of course, Ibn Khaldun turned down that offer. However, he did not stay very long in Granada. He feared the jealousy of his rivals and left back to Algeria, where he was appointed prime minister by the sultans of Bougie. For there he led military campaigns against the revolting Berber tribes. It would be tedious to follow in detail Ibn Khaldun's career during the next few years. Plots and counter-plots succeeded each other rapidly. More than once he changed employer, allegiance, and residence. Perhaps the most important date in his life was 1375, when he retired of the castle of Ibn Salama near Oran. It was here that he worked for 4 long years on his Prolegomena and Universal History. Nevertheless, his need for documents and his desire to have a more active life pushed him back to Tunis again. Here, he engaged in studying and lecturing. Eventually, he aroused the enmity of both politicians and scholars alike. So, he decided to leave on a pilgrimage to Mecca. On the way, nevertheless, he changed his mind and settled in Egypt. He was so fond of Cairo. He quoted with approval a statement of one of his teachers that what one sees in dreams surpasses reality, but all that one could dream of Cairo falls short of the truth. In Cairo, he was appointed Chief Justice. From this leading position, he undertook to remove corruption and inefficiency from the courts. Needless to say, This attempt brought him more enemies. It was during this time, unfortunately, that he was struck with despair when he lost his children and riches in a shipwreck. An incident which left a deep grief in his heart. He sought consolation in prayers and felt a great relief when asked to resign from his post. In 1387, he managed to complete his trip to Mecca, after which he decided to return to Cairo to lead a quiet life. However, a man of experience, courage, and wisdom like Ibn Khaldun is always destined for great tasks. The Mamluk Sultan chose him to negotiate terms with Timur Lenk near Damascus. The Tatar leader was struck with his guest's profound knowledge and intelligence. He offered to employ him into his service, but the smart historian skillfully declined the offer. When he was in the Tatars' camp, he availed himself of the opportunity to round off his knowledge of recent Mongol and Tatar history. He was so respected by the Tatars that when he sacked Damascus, they accepted his good offices to save the lives of many of its notables. On his return to Cairo, he was once again appointed Chief Justice, a post which he held until his death in 1406. He was buried in Cairo, the city that he loved very much. In summary, Ibn Khaldun's agitated life brought him in touch with rulers in the West and the East. He experienced life in huts and palaces, in prisons and courts of justice. He suffered from deprivation and sorrow, and enjoyed affluence and reputation. Above all, and despite his agitated life, he was a great scholar. He succeeded to earn his fame as founder of sociology and a great Arab historian.